other stations are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any materials produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Into the Abyss with Peggy Gypsy. Peggy comes from a long line of spiritual mediums. She is also an afterlife researcher, a paranormal investigator, and she mixes her skills with her special gifts in order to seek knowledge of the unknown, paranormal, and metaphysical. Join Peggy live on Spreaker, Saturday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. For some great conversation with awesome guests and some fun along the way. Be sure to follow Peggy's social media on Periscope, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For all of Peggy's sponsors, check out the links in the description. Here's your host, Peggy Gypsy.
Welcome, welcome, world, and happy Saturday night. I hope everyone's having a good night. I know I'm having a great day today. Did some stuff around the house, which is always exciting. So it's still cold. It's still snowing here in Buffalo, New York. And I am anxiously waiting for spring. Like, hello, spring, where are you? We've been waiting for you. So I just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsors, Crescent City Conjure. Please follow them on Facebook, Crescent City Conjure. Their website is crescentcityconjure.us, and they're located at 2402 Royal Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. Also, Colorado Paratech. Their Facebook is Colorado Paratech, and they are the creator of the Ghost Light, and you can follow them also on all their social medias. Now, I have an awesome guest. I'm really, really excited. It's, he's pretty funny. I think we kind of play off each other when we've spoken, a couple times or through social media. But he's amazing. And yeah, Ken Boggle, what's going on? How are you, buddy?
Hi, I'm living the dream, as they say. The kids say, everything is Gucci, is what the kids say. Everything is Gucci.
You know what? I just heard that term not too long ago, and I was so confused. I was like, wait, what? Are you wearing Gucci? And they're like, no, that means everything is good. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm dating younger men now. See, I'm dating a younger men, and they're teaching me things. And one of the things I've learned is that when things are fantastic, they're Gucci. Everything's Gucci. Okay, now, I've also heard several other things that I won't mention on this lovely podcast, but I do think I'm going to have to write a book about my journey into the wild of the dating world, and these kids and their acronyms and their phrasing. It's amazing. I've learned so much.
Yeah, I have younger friends that I'm and they all talk in their little slang, and they're like that 24 to maybe 28 age range, and it's a whole different language, and I have to remind them hey,
Mary, so it's doing me okay. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Fun. You're looking for a good time, a good fun time. That's what you're looking for right now.
Apparently, I'm a cougar. I didn't know it. I didn't mean for this to happen, but here we are.
Hey, I think it's something those young people, they like older men, older women, and it's,
here we are.
You're in your prime, so you need to enjoy yourself.
Right. I peaked at nine. I peaked at 9.
No.
So,
no. You know what?
So this is all.
No, I disagree. I disagree with you because, if I think about back when I was in my 20s, and, you know, I'm not going to say my age, but, you know, at the age that I'm in now, I am smarter. I think I look better, and I'm more established than I was when I was young and dumb. So, no, I think the age that you're in, it's like the right age. You know what's good, you know what's bad, and you know when it's time to have fun and when it's time to buckle down and get serious.
Right, which we're going to buckle down and get serious for this hour, and then my jolly self is going on over to the bar.
Yes.
And I'm going to have a drink because Ken Boggle has been busy today.
So what has been your day? Like, what have you been doing all day today?
What I've done was I woke up and I did readings. I did readings all day. Mm-hmm. And then I do my day job. So I went in and I managed a salon for a few hours, closed it down. Then my mother is in town my birth mother is in town from Pennsylvania. Oh, wow. So I went to a whole other county to see her with my sister. And so I saw them, and I immediately got in my car at 8:15, driving down the road, horrible weather. Mind you, I hadn't peed or used the restroom since like 10 a.m. this morning. Oh my God. Then, it was awful. And then, the weather was so bad. Traffic was so bad. I officially could not even get home. I am literally doing this interview in a parking lot. Yeah. Literally. Okay. So that's why you hear like all these sirens and things like this. It is literally, I am in a parking lot doing this interview. Oh my God.
So people are going to be driving by or like parking next to you and be like, what is this weirdo doing?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Sitting in his car.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I will tell you, though, I ran into there's a place here nearby, and I ran in, and I was like, where are your bathrooms? I got to go to the bathrooms. So I go back there, and there's all these people standing there, and I was like, you totally have to, like, move. Because I haven't used the restroom since, like, 10 a.m., and I got an interview to do, and they're like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, get out of the way. So I dropped a few expletives and flipped the finger and did pull all kinds of – I did everything but short of fake a heart attack. Got my restroom on, got out here to the car. Here we are, and I'm so happy that you've had me on. Thank you. I really enjoy it. And, I love it. Thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, when you called me, you're like, I'm in traffic, the weather, you know, all these. I'm like, oh my God, I felt terrible. I'm like, oh my God. But you know what? The show goes on, like you said. Oh my gosh. So Ken, for the people who are listening in, that you know, like oh, there you go. I think I lost you for a second. There you go. Are you still there?
Oh, okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, I know like my sister's on, and she doesn't, you know, there's a few people that follow me that, you know, may know about you. Some of them, of course, everybody knows who the amazing Ken Boggle is, duh. But, you know, can you just give me just a quick, brief history? You know, I don't like to talk so much about the past. I like to talk more about the future and where you're going and, you know. But, you know, just for the people listening, like, how did you get started into, you know, the tarot, paranormal, like in this whole world that we're in?
Right. Okay, so when I was 8 years old, which was 27 years ago.
Oh my God, it's like 5 years ago.
Yeah, 27 years ago. And I'm very proud of my age. I'm 35 now. But my grandmother had noticed that I had exhibited a family trait, which was really great intuition. And she started psychically training me. And then my Aunt Caroline came by with a packet of poker cards, regular bicycle poker deck. And she's like, okay, I'll teach you how to read fortunes. And then I went back to my granny and said, look what I can do. She said, that's cool, but can you read tarot? And I was like, what? And she's like, let me show you that. So I went and bought a deck of cards with the money she gave me and started using that. I stayed in the closet with it forever. I came out gay before I ever came out as psychic. So that tells you exactly how afraid of being open about it that I was. I would rather have dealt with the backlash of being gay than I would have ever been psychic. Anywho, so that went on. I read for friends and family, and I worked in a regular 9 to 5 multiple times, switching job to job. And then an opportunity came where I was facing this really dark moment of my life. I was having back surgeries, and they were like, you have to go on disability. And I weighed 286 pounds at the time, and they were like, you're going to have to go on disability. And I was like, I'm not doing that. There are other people who need that far worse than me. And I remember the day I had a lawyer who said to me, he laughed at me, he said, well, what on earth are you going to do? I said, I'm going to read tarot.
Oh,
and he
must have
laughed.
looked at you like you were crazy.
Oh yeah, he totally laughed, and I was like, "Oh well, thank you," because that's fuel. Laugh at me.
Yeah.
So I did. I immediately opened up Tarot by Ken LLC, trademarked my name, trademarked tarot date, trademarked absolutely everything, and started reading professionally. That went on for a few years. I read for Dustin Perry. I started a podcast. That podcast became really big, did it for 5 years. Through that, I met Dustin Perry. Dustin Perry really got me cracking. He really got me started. And from that, I met Elizabeth Saint and then Nick Groff. And they have since then started the show Tarot Date with Ken Boggle on the VIDI Space Network, and soon to be on Amazon Prime next month.
That's awesome. That's big.
Right, and I mean, now I'm not just the host of Tarot Date, I'm also the producer, so I helped produce last season, and so that'll be on Amazon Prime next month, and now, since the show is getting ready to air, I've got tons of events that are coming up, which we'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
But, so that's how I got started. I really got started because my granny noticed 27 years ago that I was not normal.
Hey,
That's what she...
Normal is boring.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really...
Yeah.
Now, since you started so young, do you still have those cards, or is it something that you lost, with growing up, or did you keep
I have no idea where those cards are, but let's talk about it. I've recently Googled that deck of cards, and they do have them for sale. $327 for these cards.
No.
I could just gag. Like, that is not Gucci at all. That is not Gucci
like
at
the
all.
young kids say, that is not Gucci.
No, that is not Gucci. Not at all. So anyway, it's been a weird twist and turn of events. I don't know what happened to those cards, but I'm bitter, absolutely bitter over it.
You know what? I believe that one day you will buy those cards again. It may not be now, but one day you will.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe, most likely. Usually, if I put my mind to something, I'll have it.
I'm like that. If I want something, I just focus on it. I'm big on law of attraction, and those cards will come back to you. It may not be your set, but it will be a replica of the set that you had as a child.
Well, now I do own a copy of the cards, but they're in miniature form, and I don't use them.
No, those are tiny.
Yeah, because they're tiny little things, and I don't have the energy or the effort to really care about how I'm shuffling, because that's not where my mind is when I'm shuffling. I'm shuffling actually to tune in to the client and my spirit guide and the cards and the question, and I'm doing a lot of it in the time that I'm shuffling. So there's really I have no effort at all or energy to give effort to worrying about these tiny ass cards. That ain't going to happen. Forget it.
No. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
When they're small, I don't like small cards. It's no.
I don't like small anything. I'm not a small kind of guy.
I love you. I'm like,
I
love you.
I want my sandwich big. I want my cards big. Look, I'm a big guy. I like big things. That's the way it goes. That's who I am as a person, I guess.
I love it. Go big or go home,
Yes, absolutely that.
So now, what is coming up with, what's coming up? What events are you doing and stuff like that? What's coming up with your events?
Okay, let me turn my...
turn your phone on.
Geez. I actually have to now... There we go. Okay, so let's see here. The list.
I hear the paper. There's the list.
Oh, yeah, I have to actually write down a list because there's so much going on. So the first thing I want to mention is that I attend something called the Mystical Fair of Lexington, okay? That happens every single month. It is a collection of amazingly gifted, talented people, everybody from tarot readers, psychics, mediums, energy alchemists, Reiki specialists, foot detox, stones, jewelry. They sell tarot cards there. It's where I get a lot of my tarot cards. It's from a shop there called Om Sweet Om, which I think is fabulous. But anyway, it happens every single month. The one that's coming up is the 16th and 17th of March, and that's at 1084 Whipple Court in Lexington. Now, for more information on that, you go to mysticalfairlex.com, mysticalfairlex.com. So see me there the 16th and the 17th, and if you can't see me there, you got to come see everybody else. It is amazing. I've had clients come from Florida. I've had clients come from North Carolina. I've had clients come from all over the country and in different countries, just to come in to see the mystical fair. So do that.
Wow.
Then in April 5th and 6th, I'll be at Salem Con.
Ooh.
That's going to be like John Zaffis is there. There's going to be Grant Wilson is going to be there. I'm trying to wave people on. They've recognized me sitting here in the parking lot, my friends, and I'm like, no, go.
Oh, no, they're probably like,
anyway,
what are you, like, knock on the window. What are you doing? Come on.
Yeah, I'm like, don't wave. It's okay. Okay, so anyway, so Salem Con, it's going to be in Salem, Massachusetts. It's going to be the 5th and the 6th. That is going to be top notch. Chad Lindenberg's going to be there. I love Chad Lindenberg. He's, I mean, I have a boy-girl crush on him. Like, he's delicious. And so that's at the Hawthorne Hotel. Come do that. Go get your tickets. All the information is there. I can't promote that enough because I love it. Then in Ohio, we're doing something, and this is going to be in August. So I have a little break. No, this is in June. In June, I'm going to be at the Twin City Opera House.
Ooh,
okay, it's the
with Stephanie.
Now this is it. Yeah, it's the McConnellsville, Ohio psychic. It's going to be the Twin City Opera House Psychic Fair. Now, this is kind of crazy. The thing about it is, it is a psychic gallery reading. Okay, so the way this is going to work is you're going to buy your tickets. You're going to come in, and then on stage is going to be a long table full of the number one up and coming psychic readers.
Wow.
Okay, this event's put on by Weird Weekends, Donnie Irvin and his team. It's going to be, it is going to be the first time ever a gallery reading has been done with a collection of psychics. Each one of us has their own specialty. So you'll ask a question, and you're going to get psychics who have the answers. You're going to get mediums who have the answers. You're going to get people like me who are psychic medium tarot card readers. I'll be shuffling. We're gonna answer your questions. It's a dais of the newest, freshest faces in the psychic and paranormal world.
Now,
Stephanie
how much
Hutton.
is that to get in? Do you know?
Now that to get in is going to be $50.
Nice.
Super affordable. And we're also going to be doing a ghost hunt later that night. So all kinds of things you can do there. Now, I will be doing private readings. I do not keep a schedule of those. That's going to be first come, first serve because that's how I roll. But that's a separate price. You'll pay me for that on the side. Okay, so that's June 22nd. Then in August, I'll be August the 2nd through the 4th, and I'm really excited about this. This is the Ashmore Estates. Now, this is in Ashmore, Illinois. Everybody knows about the Ashmore Estates.
Oh, yeah.
I have never been there. However, I looked at pictures of the building, and something inside of me said, this building has been waiting for you.
Oh,
So this is going to be the 2nd through the 4th of August in Ashmore, Illinois. This is put on by the Odyssey Paranormal, and it's going to be phenomenal. The events for that, the tickets for that will be on Eventbrite. Sometime this evening or in the morning, I'm going to share the links to that. You'll be able to find them on Ken Boggle's social media. That's the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram. But yeah, so every single month. March, April, May, June, July, March, April, May, July, August, September, October, I will be doing the Mystical Fair of Lexington if you can make your way to Kentucky. And if not, come see me in Salem in April, see me in Ohio in June, and Illinois in August. So there it is.
Wow.
The Ken Boggle. And then I have Scarefest. Scarefest happens here in Lexington in September. So
I was waiting for you to say Scarefest because I was like sitting here kind of disappointed. I'm like, okay, I'm going to Scarefest. You better be going to Scarefest.
Yeah. The Scarefest is a little bit more interesting this year because I'm not sponsoring it. So we've come to the place in our relationship where, and this is really behind the scenes information. Nobody else ever talks about these sorts of things, but we're in a place now where we have to decide what our relationship is going to be because normally I would just write a check. Yeah. And sponsor it. I used to sponsor the VIP room. Now those days are behind me. I'm not paying anywhere these days, So we're kind of going to have to sort of sit down with Scarefest and say, what is our relationship going to be? Because I'm still doing Scarefest radio and things like that. But I'll be there. I'll definitely be there for sure.
Okay. I'm excited. You'll figure out all that stuff. You guys will figure that out with Scarefest. But I'm excited that you're going to be there because I will be there. I'm trying to have Stephanie come down. Or up for
Stephanie,
her now.
We're talking about Stephanie Hutnick, Stevie?
Yeah.
What up?
I'm trying. We got to work our magic on that one, and we need them up there, and I think it's going to be an awesome weekend.
Let me tell you how to work that out with Stevie. Here's how this goes. We got to turn Eric Knapp on first.
Oh yeah.
Now listen, all we got to do is convince Eric it's a good idea, and Stevie's here. She's there. That's totally happening. Now everybody calls her Stephanie. I don't call her Stephanie. Occasionally I call her Stephanie. Yeah. But she has some of her social media is like Stevie, and Stevie Nicks is one of my favorite people, obviously.
Oh my God. I love Stevie Nicks. Oh my God.
Well, one day I'll sit down and tell you about all of my adventures with Fleetwood Mac. We'll sit down and we'll talk about me.
Obsessed.
We have a pretty long history of the band that I do. So anyway, so I call her Stevie. I love her. I adore her. As a matter of fact, we snap each other all the time. Most usually when we're drunk. Most usually when we've had too much drink. Now, she'll be at the Twin City Opera House Psychic Fair, June 22nd.
Nice.
So come see me and Stevie Hutnick. We're going to be on stage together. And this will be the first time she and I have ever met in person. So a lot of these people I've never even met before. So it's going to be a hot time in McConnellsville, Ohio, June 22nd. It's going to be fabulous.
That is awesome. Isn't it weird how, the internet makes everybody, especially like social media, makes everybody feels like we're friends, like I know you because we follow each other. I see what you're up to. I see your pictures. You see mine. And it's almost like you feel like you're friends. So when you actually, I wouldn't say meet each other, but when you see each other face to face, it's like, oh man, I've known you forever. I just never seen you. Like, in
but also, it also creates a weird little thing that happens, though. Weird in that you have people who follow you and they have only seen your posts. Maybe they don't watch the shows, or maybe they've not listened to your interviews, or they've certainly not met you in person, and they get this idea about what you're like. And I have a hard time reconciling it, really, but you meet them and they're like, oh, I thought he was going to be funnier, or I thought he was going to be more kind of trash mouth, or I thought he was going to be more kind of aggressive, or, they had this idea and then you don't hit it. And I've had a couple of people after I've met them in person write me back and say, oh, I thought you were going to be more like this or more like that. And, or one woman said, are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? And I was like, no, lover, I was just about to go do a seminar for 150 people, and I was nervous. I'm allowed to be nervous. Yeah. And we are talking to each other, and I'm like, no, I'm never mad at you. If you certainly know what time it is with Ken Boggle any day of the week, I will tell you to your face. Exactly. I don't like it. Yeah, but so anyway, that's a weird little thing. But conversely, it has been remarkable to be able to meet people like Stevie, be able to meet people like Eric, be able to meet, build a relationship with Dustin Perry, with Grant Wilson, in a way that, like, I owe these men a huge debt of gratitude, and Elizabeth Saint, because I'm all about women empowerment. I am all about Charlotte Hardin, Beth Moore. Never met them in person, but I would go down in a blaze of glory for any one of them. Any one of them,
awesome, awesome females right there. They're awesome.
Oh yeah,
go-getters.
And I remember reading for Charlotte years ago. Well, years ago. Charlotte saw me every 6 weeks. This is before Girls versus Ghosts. This is before any of that.
Oh wow!
And she was saying to me, I have these ideas, and I was like, here's what we're going to do with them. And like, we would read the cards and we would develop plans. And I mean, she took it and ran. She did far more with it in a shorter span of time than I could have conceived, which says a lot. Yeah, but awesome. Just it's awesome, and so having this kind of a social media network has been really beneficial and beautiful, really beautiful.
Now, have you come across any stalkers on social media?
A few.
The silence.
A few, and I make very short work out of that. Now, I do travel with. If it's in a big event, or there's there have been a lot of tickets sold or something, I do travel a bodyguard or a security guy, and my PA, well, because I will look you in the face during a reading and I would say, is that your husband? Yeah, and then find out in the moment that he's up to no good and tell you in front of him. I totally do that, because if he you know what I mean, like I totally do that, and so it creates a situation where things get really.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of people come up to me and kind of be very aggressive and, in fact, dangerous. And so that's when I was like, I may not be a Kardashian, but I'm not asking for a whole security team. I need someone to
Yeah,
kind
you
of
need
check
someone
in on.
to go with you. Yeah, just to kind of make sure everything's okay. Because you're right. If you're doing a reading and you tell someone their husband is, doing this and that, and the husband there, I can see it getting, out of hand.
Or that they're 6'6", 18-year-old sons, on drugs, and they need to get a hold of his ass. And I've had kids come up to me and say, why would you do aggressive? So it's like, hey, look, don't be up to it if you don't want them to know. Here's the reality of your life. I'm just paid to do a job. So those days are behind me. Well, I always come with my PA. She's not. I say PA as production assistant because she's been there to film all the show with me, and she's care of me, but really she is my companion, and she goes with me everywhere. You will be able to meet Mama Kim with me in all these events. Mama Kim will be there in Salem. She'll be there in Ashmore. She's going to be there in McConnellsville. She's always everywhere I'm at. Mama Kim is, and we have this sort of So I have met stalkers like that. I've had people actually be very angry with me that I won't read them over social media. Like,
what's that
I've had
about?
Like, when they write you at like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. or what have you.
I need help. Can you answer this question for me? And I'm like, I have a life besides this whole thing. I work. I have a regular job. You know what I mean? Like, and then if you don't respond in an accurate time, I get a message back like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. I won't follow you anymore. I thought you were nicer than that. And I'm just kind of like, wait, what? Like, what just happened?
Oh, get over yourself. Yeah. Get over yourself. You wouldn't ask a surgeon to do something for free. You wouldn't show up. Look, and these are all the same types of people. They would rather die than show up at their 9 to 5 for free. You could ask any one of them to give 2 hours of their life to, the bank or be a lawyer or whatever the hell it is they do, and they won't. So why would you ask me to do it? It's because they don't value you. Now they may be obsessive with you, they may adore you, and they may have this idea that you guys are friends, but friends don't treat friends that way. I have friends, they pay me,
exactly. Yeah that is that's just terrible. That's the part of social media that I don't enjoy. It's like, those messages, or all the stuff that's going on social media where they sent you pictures that you did not ask for, and you're like, whoa.
Oh no, I love those. Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you want to send me, send me all the nude pictures.
Listen, I will forward them to you on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I would be
Girl,
like,
don't do me any favors. Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Good morning, Ken. Here you go.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
What you should do is tell them, you'd be like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and forward this to my friend Ken Boggle and leave him your information. He'll be in touch. That's what you should do.
I'll be like, I'm sending this to Mr. Ken Boggle. Thank you very much.
I'm going to send this to Ken Boggle. You go ahead and do that, baby girl. I'll get you a drink. Absolutely.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. This is you know what? You're funny. Like not only are you funny, I love your accent. Like you have like a southern twang accent to you.
Well, I mean, I don't hear it, and I've worked really hard to not have one. So I guess
it is amazing. I love it. Don't change it. Yeah.
I was actually at a place called Sound Bar. I guess it was this week. I don't know. Anyway, I was there, and there was this group of women, and they were saying to me, "Where are you from? Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm from Kentucky." And they were like, "No, it doesn't sound like Kentucky at all." And one woman said, "Georgia, you're from Georgia." And I was like, "No, I'm from a place called Hippo Holler." Like,
wait, did you just Hippo Holler?
Like I had a pet rooster, I mean,
oh my God! No, you're kidding me. Did you really have a pet rooster, Ken?
Oh yeah, he was a Chinese fighting cock, is what they're called. I didn't make that up. And instead of having the crest on their head, that's like that flappy thing, he had feathers.
Oh my God.
And they were ashy colors, And so I called him Rod Stewart. Oh and I would every day before school I would put a little leash on his ankle.
No, oh my God, no!
I would pull him out of the roost. And I would walk him in my backyard, and I would feed him. I'd get his water, and he would flog me. I would go to school with whelps because Rod had lost his mind. Rod Stewart, the fighting cock. He would totally lose his mind and go crazy, and I'd have scars, battle scars for it. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I grew up in the country, you know. We were dirt poor. We were dirt poor in the country. And, yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, so it's interesting to me when people say, "Oh, well, you have an accent," because I was like, I tried really hard to get out of it. I really have.
It's so good. Like, you shouldn't. Like, it sounds really, really good. It's almost like TV accent. You know what I mean? Like when they show like the country guys, and no, like don't change it at all. Not at all.
Well, I'll appreciate that. Thank you, babe.
Not at all. Now, I have a question for you. From, like, you know, I know you watch, like, you know, Ghost Adventures. I mean, who doesn't? These shows are on TV.
Oh, I don't watch Ghost Adventures.
Well, but you know, I know some people don't.
Press pause. And I'm about to piss off half your listening audience, and that's beautiful. I hope I do, and good evening.
Oh my!
But
God.
I would rather take a skillet to the head than watch Ghost Adventures. I don't like any of that. Now, with your question, I do watch paranormal shows. Absolutely.
Okay, what paranormal shows do you watch that you see and you're like, oh, I would like to be on that show and be a guest?
Well, always Lockdown with Nick Groff and Kat. Like always that. Anytime I can be near Nick Groff, I take it because like he's beautiful. And Ghost of Shepherdstown, because any chance I could if that could be back on and me being it, I would love that. Because I love Elizabeth Saint. I mean, I make no qualms about it. I would like to have a show. With Grant Wilson.
Oh, he seems nice.
He has a show called What the Fetch.
Yes,
he and his wife, beautiful, fabulous wife. Yeah, and it's amazing. It's on YouTube. You should go watch it. It's called What the Fetch, FETCH, and it's glorious. Anyway, he and I did about 2 hours filming, and we split it into two. He split it into two episodes. And being with him in front of a camera was so easy.
Wow.
Being with him and chatting with him, it was like, now granted, I go back a fair distance back when I was doing podcasts that was not paranormal related, or it actually just started being paranormal related. And I interviewed him because he had done some amazingly beautiful piano album, you know, and I was like,
really?
Oh my God, this piano album. Oh, you don't know about him? Okay, look, study this. Grant Wilson, piano music. There was an album called 3.14 something or something other. It was the golden ratio is like 1.8 something. Anyway, look it up. It's the golden ratio number by Grant Wilson. And then the last one he did, phenomenal. And it was so phenomenal that Grant Wilson actually wrote the music to season 2 Ken Boggle, Tarot Day with Ken Boggle. Grant Wilson's actually playing the piano to the introduction of my show for season 2. Like, what the F?
What?
Like how? I mean, like it blows my mind. It blows my mind because I can't reconcile it. You know, like I should have never come any closer to him than a television screen. But I respect him as much. But then you get to meet him, you get to hang out, you get to meet his beautiful wife, and it's like, boom, these people they're good, amazing people. So I would also like to do a show with Dustin Perry and John Tenney, because John Tenney is this. He's like Bigfoot. He is elusive. I don't think he showers often. He takes weird hours. I love me some John. He always looks amazing, though. He always looks amazing. I had a crush on John Tenney for a moment, but I would love for John Tenney, Dustin Perry, and myself to do a show together. There's a lot of that.
That would be an interesting show. That would be a good show.
Yeah, but like I look at the other shows that are on that I would like to be on, and there's other than Paranormal Lockdown, I don't really see a whole lot that I'd like to do. Really, I always want to do something original, something that hasn't been done before. And I have this beautiful idea for a show with me and Grant Wilson, and I talked to him about it, and it kind of fizzled. But but yeah, I just feel like he and I should be in front of a camera together. I feel like we're the paranormal odd couple. You know,
I can see that paranormal odd couple kind of thing.
Yeah,
I can see that between, like, you guys would balance each other out, and it'll be.
Oh, we totally do, because here he's like
so great.
Oh yeah, he's very clean cut, very attractive. He's very fit, and he's got this wife and these wonderful kids and this life. And then here I am, stumbling out of a bar with a cigarette in my mouth with a deck of cards in my pocket. Like, some kind of vagabond,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's very kind of Oscar, kind of that. It's very odd couple, our relationship together, but it really works. And, and I would love to spend as much time with, really honestly, the only reason I would want to do a show with any of these people is because I respect them and I like them. If Zach Baggins said to me, here's $1 million, well, now wait, back up. If he said, here's $100,000, do an episode
when
with
you're
me.
talking about millions, you have to think of
Now,
like,
if he
wait
said,
a minute. One episode.
And if he said, here's $1 million, I would ask a couple questions. First of which is, where did you get that kind of money? And the second question would have been, is it tax-free?
Is it tax-free? And are you going to give me that money in cash? Then we can talk.
Yeah,
Go
absolutely.
right ahead.
Then I would entertain the idea. Not that he's, knocking down my door, which I'd hope he never would. But yeah, there's a lot of people I'd like to work with and a lot of shows I would like to be on and do. Yeah.
What do you think of Haunted Live? The guys from Tennessee.
I've not seen enough. I've liked what I've seen, but I've not seen enough of it to get an educated opinion. Do you know what I mean? And I'm one of those rare people that will say to you, look, I'm not going to open my mouth about it because I don't know that much about it. So I don't, but I do enjoy it. I'll tell you, some of the things I've really loved is Ghost Crier on
Oh my God. I love Aaron. I think they're both so hilarious together. Those guys are funny.
Like if we could get Ken Boggle, Ghost Crier, and Johnny Hauser together,
oh my God.
I think the world would melt.
The world, it would just be like, what is going on right now?
Ghost Crier, to me, when I first saw Ghost Crier, this is before they even had, like, I think it was like 300 followers on Twitter or something. They had not blown up yet. I sponsored them.
You did?
And I promoted them, and I had Aaron on my show, and it's because I can look at people and see something special. Yeah. And every time I see Aaron and Nick, I see that.
Yeah, they're wonderful together.
Oh, they're amazing. And so now we have this weird kind of relationship, which is, I call it the shadow relationship, where you don't see each other, but it's always there. It's shadow,
Yeah.
We have this weird kind of shadow relationship. So it's like Nick, Nick Simons will like write me and say, hey, babe, I'm thinking, hey, bud, I'm thinking about you. And Aaron will say, hey, how you doing? You check in back and forth with one another.
Yeah.
I think they're amazing. I love their stuff. I like Johnny Hauser's stuff. I love Ghost Girls, Jen and Teresa. Love them. And in fact, I'll tell you a really funny story real quick. So I was on a date with this guy, and it went pretty well. So he came back to my apartment, and I was explaining to him what I do, and he was interested, and I was like, well, it's going to be on Amazon Prime pretty soon. He was like, oh, cool. And I was like, actually, let's see who is on there. And I saw Ghost Girls, and there's Teresa and Jen, and they're clients of mine. I've read for them for a while. And I said, let's watch this. So we put it on, and they're getting aura photos done. And this woman is reading, aura photos, and she was reading Teresa. She was talking to Teresa about it, and Teresa said, actually, and this is on camera, on Amazon Prime, Ghost Girls, look it up. Teresa looks at the camera and says, actually, I just had a reading with psychic medium tarot card reader Ken Boggle, and he said the exact same thing. And like smiles at the camera in this way that she knew somehow, subconsciously, psychically, that I would be in bed with some guy that I was trying to impress, and nailed it. She nailed it. You know what I mean? Nailed it, kid. I was like, it was so shocking.
He looked at you like rock star Ken Boggle, like, what?
Listen, girl, it was so shocking that I hit pause because I was shook. The way she looked at the camera, I was shook. And I looked over at him, and he was like, that's you. And I said, yeah.
Like,
and he was like, you knew that was going to happen. I said, I have no idea. And I was like, I actually only paused this because I'm a little shook, and I could really go for a Camel cigarette right now. Like, I'm a little shook. And so it was very great. We hit it off. He's now long gone, as he well should have been. But it was a great little aphrodisiac, and I owe her dinner or something. But I love those girls. I think they're fantastic. And there is a lot of crazy, amazingly talented, fabulous people on VIDI space not just the ones that are on camera. You got Charlotte Harden and Beth Moore doing Girls versus Ghosts and all that. It's phenomenal, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And those are the kinds of people I want to be around. That's the kind of the underdog, nitty-gritty, fight tooth and claw to do it the right way and be respectful of spirits and respectful of the process. That's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah. I mean, VIDI Space, it's good. They have awesome shows, awesome movies. It's, it's good.
Yeah.
And then you, I mean, hello.
Well, now, look, you can't find me on VIDI Space right now. Tarot Date has been taken down from VIDI Space, and here's why.
Why?
In the early days of VIDI Space, we filmed everything live.
Oh, wow.
Over the internet. And so a lot of my episodes were choppy and splotchy, and they weren't playing smoothly, and people still bought it, people still enjoyed it, people still loved it, and I'm grateful for each one of you that did. I love each one of you. If you think you don't matter to somebody, you're wrong. I appreciate each one of you for doing it. You stuck through it, and you supported me, and I'm grateful. But they took them down so that what they could do is somehow Nick Groff and Elizabeth Saint, in their infinite genius, had backup copies that were stored on a hard disk. So they're trying to match up these empty spaces with the saved footage to create a whole episode. So that's what's taking so long with Tarot Date. Season 2 was done in 38 hours. Season 2 was done in no time. We did that in 38 hours. It's all in the can. It's ready to go. But what they're wanting to do is they want to release it all at the same time. Here's season 1 and season 2 of Tarot Date. Boom. And I spoke to Elizabeth the other day, and I was saying to a girl, I got people who are mad at me. They bought this.
They want to see you.
She said, and she, so beautiful and graceful, said to me, just let them know we're about to give it to them good. So
nice.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah.
Nice. That is awesome. Because, I bet you that, they're searching for you and they want to see you. You're awesome,
Well, no, I mean.
You're pretty cool, Ken. You know that.
Well, we all, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. I got to get better at accepting compliments, I guess. I got to work on that.
So what are so Ken Boggle, 2019 to 2020. What is it that you want to achieve this year that you haven't achieved yet? Like, what is it, like that goal that you have, or goals that you have that you're like, okay, this is what I want to do this year?
I want to, I don't really lay down like goals like that. Mm-hmm. Like what I say is I want to skyrocket this year. I want to blow away what I did last year. Mm-hmm. And I want to, so that's like with my career, I want to give amazing readings. I want to have 100 more clients. I want to do all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like all that's, to me, is just a vague thing that I say is I want to be bigger and better than I was last year. That's the thing. Now, me personally, in my personal life, I'd love to lose 50 pounds. I'd love to find an attractive, successful lawyer in his 40s who, does not want to get married but would like to be serious. I want things in my personal life that are more well-defined. But as long as I'm out there doing readings, giving great readings, and I'm growing, and I want to do more events for sure in 2019. But it looks like I really only have like July, November, and December to really book them.
I know you're busy. You are busy.
So what I always do, babe, is this. Whenever somebody books me for something, even if it is a 30-minute reading or a 15-minute reading, I always chant to myself, more of this, more of this, more of this, more of this. And I say it again, and more of that, more of that. And Lindsay Center, my manager, will send me a contract, and I'll say, more of these, more of these, more of these. Yeah. Like that's the kind of thing. So in short, which is weird because I ramble, I would like to do more readings. I would like to do more events. I would like for my show. I would love if this year turned around and people watched Tarot Date season 2 and they loved it and they shared it and it took off. I would be the happiest camper in the world. Like
it will. Without a doubt, it will take off.
It's the best work I've done in 27 years. They've caught footage of me actually talking to dead people, like to the spirits, and they have auditory footage of it. They have auditory files of it. Excuse me. They have visual footage of it. What was weird is that Elizabeth was saying to me, Ken, none of us heard anything, but certain microphones, which were placed in certain places, did. And what's bizarre, Ken, is that you look at each microphone area as it is heard. So I was literally hearing what the microphone was hearing, and I would turn, and I've always turned to where the spirit is. I've always done that. So, to have a conversation, they're people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Where they were, you know what I'm saying? They deserve respect, you know? So anyway, I turned to them, and so she's like, Ken, there was even knocking that no one heard, but a microphone in the far left corner of the room did, and you would turn toward it, and you would speak to it. It would knock back, and you would say to the client whatever you heard after thanking that knock. So it's things like that. And
so wait, this is going to be in the episode?
Yeah, this is season 2 of Boggle, for sure.
Holy, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, she said to me, I know this started out as like you said, I want to tell human stories with a deck of cards. I want to take people who've actually got things wrong or things happening. Yeah. I want to help them with a deck of cards, and I want that to be the show. And she said, I totally respect that. However, Ken, some weird stuff's happened. And is it okay with you if we showcase that? And I said to her 2 questions. The first one I had was, is it legitimate? She said yes. And my second question was, will it benefit the paranormal industry? The people who are really out, the paranormal researchers, the investigators, will it benefit them? She said yes. I said, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Do it big. So there's a lot of this stuff that is now being like closed captioned and looped, and so that you can actually hear these things being played back. It's sort of exceptional. If right off the bat she called me after she edited episode 1 and was like, "You've got to be kidding me." Yeah. She's like, "You've got to be." She said, "It creeps me out." And this is Elizabeth Saint. If you can creep out Elizabeth Saint, then you've done your job.
That is, oh my God, that is amazing. That is, to be able to capture that, and not only capture the evidence, but capture you reacting to the evidence in real time as everything is happening without you knowing that this is being captured. Like, that's just amazing.
Yeah, I had no idea. And like, I really had no idea that they were going to capture any of it. I knew it was all being filmed and it was all being recorded. I was just simply there listening to people talking to me, watching what spirits were showing me, and giving them my attention and focus. I had no idea it was going to go that way. But thank God it did. And my reaction was to cry. When Elizabeth said to me, this is what has happened, I cried. Because a lot of people say to you, oh, you're crazy, or you're nuts, or you're what is the word, schizophrenic.
So that's to be able to have, you sure you're not schizophrenic? And you look at it like,
So to have audio and visual footage of it happening was so unbelievably comforting to me and liberating to me that I cried. I said, thank you so much. Which also in season 2, you're going to find out a lot more about me as a person.
Yeah.
I've always been very open, but there's certain doors I've kept closed. So in season 2, what they did was after readings, they would interview me in a side area at the end of the episodes. And, I would do these pieces to camera, and there's a couple of questions that Elizabeth Saint would ask that broke my heart. And so, she said to me, there's a couple of these episodes where you're crying, and I know you like to give off kind of a tough vibe. Yeah. It's, she's like, and it's okay if you don't want us to, but can we use it? And I said, absolutely, because I don't want anybody to think I'm anything more than or less than what I really am, which is a human being who goes through struggles and, depression and addiction and these sorts of things and hard times. I want everybody to know that I'm no different than they. I'm no different.
We all go through struggles in life, and that is very honorable that, you're going to show that on camera so people can say, it's true. So people can be like, there is a different side to Ken besides, oh, you're funny. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, you cut the bullshit kind of person. But there's also that side of you where it's that, that sensitive side of you that it's like, you did go through a hard time in your life recently, and you were very public about it. And,
so when I was at Old Hookers it was Valentine's Day, and I was saying to a couple of my friends that my ex had done something that I didn't really appreciate, and they said to me, this may be the first time you've ever talked about it when not been Switzerland. And this other guy said, as a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen anybody go through a divorce where they didn't try to throw blame. And I didn't, and I don't. His journey and what he did was up to him. Yeah. It broke me. It devastated me. I'm still broken, still devastated. But there's never a time when I don't own up to not being the easiest person in the world, that my priorities are askew, that I care deeply about my position as Ken Boggle and the show, and giving people an amazing show, and giving people, and not just on television, but like if people show up for a gallery reading or a seminar or something like that, I am yours. I am yours, and I'm going to give it to you good. And that can sometimes create a huge problem when you are married to someone who is an introvert. They may not really appreciate. And so anyway, long story short, I tried, as public as I was being about it, I wanted it to be very balanced. I didn't want anybody to be mad at him. I didn't want anybody to think I was lily white. I just said this. I actually asked Lindsay Center, my manager, I said from Center Stage, I said,
I love Lindsay. I follow her. She's amazing. I love her. I'm obsessed with Lindsay. In love. She's amazing.
Love. Anyway, I said to her, you have to write this for me. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, I'll handle it. And I offered to pay her too. I was like, let me pay you to do it. And she's like, no, F that. That's not going to happen. Yeah. And so at the end of it, I'm happy that I have been so open about my life the way that I have. I'm really happy with it. And I feel like that's something I'd never want to change. I think when you start dividing your life into private and public, it makes you weird. And so I live my life, and that life is me, and that's what you get.
But I think also you going public with because I did read the press release that Lindsay put out, and I feel like almost like just everything being on the table and being public, it almost lets you start a healing process, a grieving process, going through your process instead of having it behind closed doors, going through everything alone. You did have a lot of support from people in social media, and everybody was just like, you're going to be okay. And that's good to hear when you're, going through something, terrible like that.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for my clients, if it wasn't for, I don't like calling people followers, but if it wasn't for those,
they're friends.
If it wasn't for the people who follow me on social media, this would have been tragic.
Yeah,
it is hard, and it remains to be hard. It's devastating. I had a lot of people write me from, even one woman wrote me from England and said, I'm devastated. She said, I am crying. I can't believe this. The Boggles, you are the Boggles. Like, you could literally Google the Boggles, and we would pop up.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, one of the times that we had a fight as the relationship was ending, I said, what about the Boggles? Like, I can't imagine not being the Boggles. So it was strange, but thank God for everybody out there who's listens and follows and watches and shares and tweets and messages and says, "Hey, I'm thinking about you, love you," or things like that. It's changed my life. And I was saying to Elizabeth not too long ago, I said, Elizabeth, I don't think I'll ever really be loved by one special person. Now, I don't mean that as give me pity. What I'm saying is,
no, that's okay.
What I mean is, I think that my love isn't ever going to come from one special person. I think it's going to come from all of you. I think that the love that feeds my soul the most is reading cards for someone who changes their lives, is giving someone a show or a gallery reading where they have made changes that have drastically benefited them, and has come back to me and held me and cried and said, thank you so much for if that's the only kind of the love I ever get, or from people like that, then I am a happy camper. I can't ask for much.
They do love you. I mean, even, clients love you. You are a healer. You are a helper. You're helping them when you read the cards, and, and you're always going to be loved, it's
so,
doing a good thing.
Yeah, so I said, it may end up that I'm never going to be married again. I may never be married again. But if my career is good and I am doing good by the people who've made me that career, then, because make no mistake, the paranormal industry is made out of people who make that career. It's not the person. They may investigate, they may be talented in that sort of a thing, but they are nobody without people watching or listening or buying readings. We are nobody without our people.
That is so true.
I recognize that every day. I wake up and I thank God, thank you so much for these people, complete strangers who I've never met in person, that I care for so deeply, and they've helped me. They've led the way. They've paid my electricity. I make money off readings so that I can live, and they do. So I'm exceptionally grateful for each and every one of you. You have no idea.
And that's why I've always said, whatever you're doing, you always have to be grateful, and you always have to be humble to those people on social media who, retweet you and follow you and message you, and, because you're right. Without them, there's nothing.
You're nothing. There comes a point. Exactly. There comes a point when you realize that you are a falling tree in the woods, and that you actually don't make a sound if people aren't around to hear it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the way it's been in my life. I've realized that if I am talented, I'm gifted, and I do great shows, I do great stuff. But if there's no one there to watch it, it's silent. And that's one thing. I never want to be silent, and I never want to be forgotten. And it takes other people to recognize that and love you and see it in you and appreciate you in it. So I'm grateful for it absolutely every single day. I would trade any man in the world for my friends and followers and clients. I'd trade any one of them in the world.
Exactly. That's well said, buddy. Now, I have a question for my sister. She's putting it in the chat room, and I'm staring at it. Her name is Brenda, and she wants to know, what is your scariest moment, in the paranormal?
Oh.
Yeah, I keep seeing her question. I'm like, oh my God, Brenda, I will read it in a second.
All right, I'm gonna tell this very long story in 2 minutes. Jesus, here we go. Okay, when no, I can't tell that one. I can't tell it. There is a Brenda. If you'll go to YouTube, there is a video of me doing a Halloween special for Bonehead Humor, Bonehead Weekly, I think it's called, and I tell a story about having one of the scariest moments in my life. Watch that episode. There's just no way in the world I could tell it right now and go on about the rest of my day.
You're like, I have 2 minutes and I'm in a car.
I'm in a car in a parking lot. I'm not about to sit here and cry. That's not going to happen.
People looking at you and trying to knock on your window and be like, come on, let's go, Ken.
I'm all fogged up now. People, I don't know, they probably think I'm in here fooling around or something, which, that's good.
You're like, no, I'm by
that's
myself.
Good. Yeah, that's good for image, too, isn't it? To be alone in the car with the windows all steamed up like a moron.
Yeah, that's great. And then you come out and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, what were you doing there?
Really, yeah, seriously. But Brenda, that's a good question. But just go to YouTube and find that episode, Bonehead Weekly. It's the Halloween special. We talk about exorcisms, and I talk about a time that I felt that I was not possessed, but there was definitely something that had a hold of me, and we had to get rid of it. Yeah, it was intense, and I don't tell that story often. Yeah. I really don't tell that story often. So go there.
That's always our biggest fear in this business. It's like having an attachment. It's like, oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then Brenda, follow me somewhere on social media and tell me what you think about the story after you've heard it, because it should be.
She lives out in California, so I'm sure once the show is over, she will message me and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch it. And
well, I'm gonna be in California in May. I'm going to Palm Springs.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Boggle's gonna get he is going to get an effing vacation. That's what's happening.
You need Palm Springs in your life, okay? I know Palm Springs. You need Palm Springs in your life.
From your mouth to God's ears, baby. Yes. Your mouth to God's ears. Amen.
Go have fun. Now, I know you got to go. I don't want to keep you any longer because I know you're sitting in the car and, you have to keep on with your nights. It's Saturday night. But Ken, you know what? Thank you so much. I am so honored to have you on the show and that you took time from your busy day to be on my show, and I can't wait to see you in September, and we're going to party and have fun.
Oh, well, that's the thing. It's Ken Boggle's known for turning it up. I usually host a drag show this Saturday, or no, the VIP party. I usually host that for Scarefest, so maybe that'll happen again this year. It's going to be amazing. But anyway, I want to say to everybody, thank you all for listening. Please like and share this. Support Peggy. Do everything you can to turn your friends and family on to her program and also mine. We both really appreciate it. And listen, take care of yourselves. Take even better care of each other, because at the end of the day, you are your brother's keeper. And I want to say good night. So everybody have a good time. Enjoy your weekend. And I love you
so much, Ken.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah. Good night. Bye-bye. Now, guys, that was an amazing show. I love it was amazing having Ken. He was just so much fun. And, like I said, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to be kind to one another. And, just stay away from the naysayers, stay away from the gossipers, live your life, and just keep going forward. And, because if you're focused and you go forward, you don't have to look back, and you don't have to listen to what people say, and you just have to succeed and execute. That is my word right now, is just execute. Believe in what you're doing and it will happen. Now, I'm going to be closing out the show. Our next guest is going to be on March 23rd. It is going to be a pre-recorded episode because I will be out of town, so I won't be able to do the show. But it is Sean Austin, and for those of you who know, Sean Austin is amazing paranormal investigator, a medium, an author. He does lectures. He's amazing. And I'm very excited to have him on the show. I mean, he is a very good friend of mine, so it's going to be kind of awkward, like someone that is not only your friend, but who have taught you so much in this business. Like, he's taught me so much about investigating, and it's going to be pretty cool to kind of interview him, not as myself, but as, in the show. So I'm excited about that. And also, you guys, it's exciting. Monday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Central. It is the premiere of Origin with Benji and Matt. So you guys make sure to tune in to that. It's going to be an awesome show. I will be in the chat room. Once again, that is Monday, 8:30, 7:30 Central. And it is the premiere of Origin with Benji and Matt. So that's going to be amazing show, you guys. It's going to be an amazing podcast. Now, guys, it's Saturday night. Be safe. Take care of one another. Have a good night.